When I was very young, my dad came back home one day with this cassette. And I know the Gen Zs might not know what I'm talking about, but there's this cassette where you slide into this cassette player and then voila, movie turns on. And I can remember that we're like super excited, myself and my siblings, all seated in the sitting room, waiting for the movie to play. And as the movie started, I saw it written on it, Passion of Christ. We started to watch this movie, and I tell you, we're so invested in it. So invested in it. Getting towards the ending of the movie, basically, everyone in the sitting room was crying. Probably except my dad. He had a lot of analysis to do. Tell us the things he has read in scriptures and all that. And I remember within the time I started to think to myself, why was this even titled Passion of Christ? I was thinking probably it's a very passionate movie. Until recently, I got to find out that passion actually came from the Latin word that means suffering. So passion was derived from pati, which means suffer. Basically, the movie was about the suffering of Christ. I remember Jordan Peterson saying something like this: the passion of Christ is not the resurrection of Christ, it is the death of Christ. And it makes sense. Of course, it is that look into the abyss. I learned that there was this Harvard, or was it Oxford debate, where they actually talked about the pure tragedy of the story of Christ. He was betrayed by his best friend. His friends denied him. He was being crucified for trying to help people by the people he was trying to help. It's unimaginable the level of pain and anguish. A criminal was let go, even though they know the guy was a criminal, but he was made to suffer for being righteous. There would be no story more tragic than this. On the 23rd of March 2016, around 2 p.m., I was in the house with my wife, Emerald, peace be unto her soul, arranging, putting everywhere in order, expecting our new baby. My mother was there, cracking her regular jokes with Emerald, and she, being a strong woman, was trying to help me, and me trying to get her to save her strength. Time flies so fast. It was around 7 p.m. that same day. It gets really dark quickly where we live. The moon was already out. By 8, the stars were already out. The chickens were already finding their places to perch. You can easily hear the sound of the frogs, the insects, crickets. Then our water broke. We had to go to the hospital. I wanted to drive her to the hospital, which was like 5 minutes walk away from our house, but she refused. And since I know that she's very tenacious, I followed her, supported her all through till we got to the hospital. I remember the conversations we had on the way and how she tried to still find the humor within those moments. I remember getting into the hospital. She was telling me to go get some sleep. And I told her, that is impossible. I can't sleep now. I was so excited. And nervous, of course, for more excitement. I never knew that would be the longest night of my life. Even the next day didn't feel like a day because I was totally in the abyss. In the darkest of this time, where depression hit, me totally emotionally bankrupted, different thoughts started to creep in. At a point, I was on the brink of giving up. It all felt so unbearable. In those moments, life itself felt so meaningless. But there was just one single thing that kept me, and that's the gospel of Jesus Christ, which was a light in the abyss. Yes, of course, the passion of Christ is not the resurrection, but without the death, there will be no resurrection. And without resurrection, we would not have opportunity for this saving grace. The blessing that comes out of the atonement of Christ is beyond measures. And in this place of pain, as I stared down into the abyss, I started to find light. I started to really make sense of life, knowing for a certainty that this is temporal, knowing for a certainty that the moments we share are the only things that will be left. It made me start to value life in a different way, time with people in a different way, creating memories, living in the moment. I remember Brian Johnson talk about arate. He explained this Greek word arate as the expression of your best self, moment to moment to moment. Arate basically means living in virtue. I think for the first time, I started to actually express myself, the best version of myself in every moment, because of the pain I've gone through. Because for the first time, I experienced death. It was some kind of awakening that made me understand that the material things matter so little, that what matters the most are the connections we make, the memories we create, the love we spread. Those are the things that matters the most. There's this saying from Brian Johnson's book, Arate. It's a Greek word, eudaimonia. It says eudaimonia to a lot of people is happiness, but eudaimonia is beyond happiness. It is experiencing the joy of living your full potential, experiencing the joy of living your true self, experiencing the joy that comes when you live arate, when you live in virtue. And that is what I have come to know. I've come to know a kind of joy, being able to love more, to show kindness more, to care more, to be vulnerable more, to live my truth. There is no better feeling than that feeling. Knowing that every moment I am living my purpose. I am doing all I can in this lifetime with all I have. I think it's Aristotle that said, isn't it sad that a man would walk the earth and he would have the power to make change and he would choose not to? That man will experience the greatest level of sorrow. Not because it will be portioned to him, but because he never lived this purpose. I wish each and every one could be able to live arate, to live in virtue, and be able to experience eudaimonia. I am grateful for the pain I have had to endure, and mostly for the lessons I have come to learn. But beyond every other thing, I'm grateful for the knowledge of eternity, for the knowledge of a world beyond this place. And for that particular knowledge, I know how important it is that I live in the state, in the best version of myself, moment to moment to moment, and experience eudaimonia even in this life. I hope you also experience eudaimonia. Stay kind, stay beautiful. Love you.